Hey guys, Fifi Mangaka here, and today we're going to be talking about how to create magic-based power systems. My 4 quick tips, so to speak. Previously, we chatted about how exactly a good power system can elevate a world into something exciting and intense. But let's get more detailed and talk magic. If you're creating a world where characters can manipulate elements, alter space and time, or shoot psychic beams, you're probably creating a magic-based power system. And there are 4 key things to keep in mind when you're designing this system to create something that's exciting and engaging and keeps your audience hyped for those fighting scenes. The last tip is so important for really creating this kind of system, and unfortunately, it happens to be often overlooked. Let's get into it. Consider the origins of magic. It all starts with the beginning, right? Well, the first thing to consider in creating a magic-based power system is pretty simple. Where the heck does the magic in your world come from in the first place? There are lots of different angles that you can take with this point, and it depends squarely on the setting of your world. And most importantly, it's the foundation for your magic-based power system. It shapes the dynamics of your narrative, your character development, and the overall feel and vibe of your story. The origin of magic in your world can take various forms, each of which adds some kind of distinctive flavor to your world. You can have natural energies. In some worlds, magic is an inherent part of the environment, stemming from natural elements like fire, water, or maybe even the cosmos itself. Think of elemental magic in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where benders harness the power of the elements. Or maybe your magic power comes from divine entities. Magic may be bestowed upon mortals by gods or some higher beings. This source imbues magic with a sense of divine purpose, and often comes with religious or moral implications, such as seen in Greek mythology, which is one of my personal favorites. You can have ancient artifacts where the magic comes from. It can be tied to all kinds of relics with their own histories and powers, kind of like the ring in Lord of the Rings, which is a source of great evil and temptation. Lastly, you can also examine an origin of inner potential. Magic could stem from within an individual, either as an innate gift or a power unlocked through intense training or self-discovery. This is a common one in plenty of comics and manga. This next point is real important, and surprisingly, so many storytellers don't think about it and how it will affect their magic-based power system. Is magic a common thing? How accessible or exclusive is magic in your world? Are we going to see tons of characters running around with special abilities, or is there only one true chosen one that has access to the magic in the system and they fight against others who don't have access to that power? I like to think of exclusivity of magic in 3 ways. First, you can think of common magic. In a world where magic is widespread, characters might take it for granted, and the narrative may focus on mastering its nuances. Common magic can be used for everyday tasks, and it could shape the society's infrastructure. You can also consider creating rare magic. On the other hand, if your magic is a scarce resource, it becomes a coveted and mysterious element. The rarity can fuel quests and conflicts and desires for power. You could also consider a blend of common and rare magic, where some forms of magic are abundant, while others are more specialized and elusive. I personally like this approach because it allows you to keep up the stakes depending on how widespread or not certain magics are in your world. In my manga, Ye Olde Treehouse, augur abilities can be accessed by anyone who sits under an augur oak, though there's no guarantee that the magic that you get will be favorable to you. I think of this type of magic as common magic. Next, in your magic system, there should be costs and consequences. Creating a magic system that is immersive and engaging goes beyond merely defining the source and the mechanics of the magic, which we all love to focus on so much because it's so fun to decide. But it's also really good to dive into what potential consequences that could be associated with wielding magical power. As for costs, does your magic system require any particular objects or resources? You could require material components, certain spells or rituals that may demand specific ingredients, from rare herbs to mystical gemstones. The quest for these components can become central in some kind of plotline, or maybe energy is required. Magic might draw upon the caster's own energy or life force, or whatever term you come up with in your story. This can lead to exhaustion or long-term physical consequences, emphasizing sacrifices made for wielding magic, and this can really add some tension to certain dynamics in your story. A little bit more traditionally, but still totally interesting and valid, is magic which requires knowledge. In some systems, magic is tied to extensive knowledge of arcane texts, incantations, or symbols. Characters may spend years studying and deciphering ancient lore to harness their powers. So these are all the costs you can consider when creating your magic-based power system. All of these costs open up the opportunity for all kinds of narrative exploration using solely your power system. But none of what we spoke about is as important as this last tip for creating your magic-based power system. Set clear limitations and consistency. Creating a well-defined magic system that adheres to clear limitations and maintains consistency throughout your narrative is essential for building a believable and engaging world. Limitations are the boundaries that prevent magic from becoming an all-powerful deus ex machina solution to every problem in your story. These constraints are necessary to maintain tension, challenge your characters, and ensure that your plot remains actually engaging. Here's what I like to think about when working on the power system for Ye Olde Treehouse. The scope of power. Define the range and scale of the magical abilities in your world. Are there limits to the strength of the spells that your characters can cast? Or can magic accomplish anything without any restriction? For instance, in Fullmetal Alchemist, alchemy has rules and limitations, preventing characters from achieving absolute omnipotence. I also like to think about something called specialization. Consider whether magic users must specialize in specific types of magic, such as elemental, healing, or necromancy. Specialization adds depth to your characters and can create complementary dynamics within a group of magic users, like your main cast of protagonists if you have more than one. Also, think about the costs and consequences. Reiterate the costs and the consequences that we talked about in tip 3. Magic should have a price, whether it's physical, emotional, or ethical. Characters must weigh these costs before using magic, and that creates some depth to their decisions. And the second part of our last tip is consistency. Consistency is absolutely the key to maintaining believability within your magical world. It ensures that the rules governing magic remain the same throughout your story. Here's why consistency matters. Internal logic. A consistent magic system adheres to its established rules. If you've established that magic requires specific words or gestures, breaking those rules should be a significant plot point, not a casual occurrence or a retcon. Reader or viewer engagement. Inconsistencies in how magic works can absolutely confuse your audience and detract from their immersion in the story. Consistency allows readers or viewers to understand and, more importantly, predict how the magic will be used, which enhances their engagement and prevents you from having a bunch of angry people that don't like when you retcon something. And lastly, the consistency really enhances character growth. It challenges the characters to work within the rules that you established for your magic system. Their growth and development can be seen in how they adapt and they innovate with their powers while staying within the boundaries of their magical abilities. So these are 4 tips that I like to use as I'm working on my manga Ye Olde Treehouse and developing my magic-based power system. Hopefully you found them helpful. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, or did I leave something out? Leave a comment below. And if you want to learn about power systems more broadly speaking for comics and manga, check out this video to see how I think you should approach creating a power system for your manga, your comic, or your general story. And until next time, bye.